પાલનપુર એ ગુજરાતનું નેત્ર છે અને ભૂમિરૂપી રમણીનો રમણીય હાર સમાન છે.
ત્યારે પાલનપુરનું ખોખું રહ્યું છે, પાલનપુરનું નામ રહ્યું છે, પાલનપુરની સંસ્કૃતિ નથી રહી.
દુનિયાની ડાયમંડ ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રીમાં કોઈ કંઈક છે તો 10માંથી 8 વખતે પાલનપુરી જ નીકળશે.
In Palanpuri community, I earn money, I make money, and I want that my brothers and friends and within the other community people should also make money.
You will not find any business in Bombay city or all over the world that people lend goods worth of 20 lakhs of rupees, 25 lakhs without a signature.
They are very, very clever people, very intelligent people, very smart people.
Successful diamond merchants have these attributes of being artists and traders worldwide, and the Palanpuris have fitted extraordinarily well into that particular community because they have the same skills.
I've never come across a situation where a few families from one particular town in this vast continent should show this enormous ability so quickly.
પુરાણોમાં આ પ્રદેશને અર્બુદ મંડલ કહ્યું છે અને આજુબાજુ અરણ્ય હોવાથી અર્બુદાચલ અને અર્બુદારણ્ય એમ પણ કહેલું છે. સ્કંદ પુરાણ એના અર્બુદ મંડલમાં કહે છે કે અહીંયા નાગોની વસાહત હતી. જે નાગો હિમાલય તરફથી આવીને અહીં વસ્યા હતા. આ નાગ લોકોને મને એમ લાગે છે કે એટલા માટે આ પ્રદેશમાં આવીને વસવું પડ્યું કે આર્યો અને નાગો વચ્ચે સંઘર્ષ ચાલતો હતો અને એ સંઘર્ષના પરિણામે એમના આધિપત્ય નીચે જે પ્રદેશો હતા એ પ્રદેશો આર્યોએ છીનવી લીધા અને પરિણામે એ નાગો ધીરે ધીરે દક્ષિણ તરફ ગુજરાત, સૌરાષ્ટ્ર, કચ્છ અને એમ દક્ષિણમાં એમણે રાજ્યો સ્થાપ્યા.
What were the Nagas as a people? Historians believe they had an evolved civilization that engaged in trade and that they were expert seafarers. The geology of the region tells us that at the time the sea was closer inland and the Nagas even had a port on the banks of the lost river of Saraswati. Archaeological evidence reveals that the Nagas had a settled society with a rich variety of cultural artifacts. The Nagas were worshippers of Shiva and are said to have built an imposing temple in his honor. The Pataleshwar temple still stands and today is one of Palanpur's key landmarks. The Naga symbol is prominent on the temple spire. Modern-day renovations to the temple have not erased memories of its ancient builders. It was inevitable that such a rich and fertile land would attract the attention of neighboring kings. The Nagas were overrun by the Mauryas in the 4th or 5th century BC, and Arbudachal came under Mauryan rule. The Mauryas ruled for many years, and after them the region came under a succession of rulers like the Malars and the mighty Kshatraps. The great Chinese pilgrim and traveller Xuanzang writes about Arbudachal as a well-known pilgrim centre. Times were changing, and village communities were giving way to cities. The Solankis built Patan in the 8th century, and the Parmars of Abu built the great city of Chandravati in the early 10th century on the banks of the Banas River. Today, the ruins of the city lie forgotten and unattended, but travellers in earlier times write about its magnificent buildings and bustling markets. Chandravati lay on the route of Muhammad Ghazni's armies marching from Afghanistan towards Patan and is said to have been attacked twice. Perhaps this prompted Prahladan, brother of Chandravati's ruler Dharavarsh, to set out in the 12th century AD to build a new city on the plains to the southwest. Prahladan named the new city Prahladanpur after himself, which in contemporary times became Palanpur.
પાલનપુરનો સ્થાપક પ્રહલાદન દેવ પોતે જ એક કવિ અને નાટ્યકાર હતો અને એના સાહિત્ય પ્રેમને કારણે જ એણે જુદા જુદા દૂર દૂરથી અહીં પાલનપુરની અંદર પંડિતો વિદ્વાનો અને સાહિત્યાચાર્યો જૈનાચાર્યોને એણે આમંત્રણ આપ્યું અને એમને શાસ્ત્રો લખવા માટેની બહુ જ વિશિષ્ટ સુવિધાઓ કરી આપી હતી અને એના પ્રતાપે જ આજે પણ એ સાહિત્ય પ્રેમને કારણે એ સચવાયેલી હસ્તપ્રતો પાલનપુરમાં મળી રહેશે. એ ચોક્કસ કહી શકાય કે પાલનપુર અને પાટણ બંને સાહિત્ય અને જૈનિઝમ આ બંનેની દ્રષ્ટિએ એક બે મોટા જે કહી શકાય એવા નગરો છે અને જૈન મુનિ આચાર્ય હીર વિજયસુરીજી, આચાર્ય સોમસુંદર સુરીજી, આચાર્ય દેવેન્દ્રસિંહ સુરીજી, આ ત્રણેય પ્રતિભાઓ પાલનપુરની એટલી બધી જબરજસ્ત પ્રતિભાઓ હતી કે જેને કહીએ કે ગુજરાતી સાહિત્યની અંદર એમનું બહુ જ મોટું પ્રદાન છે.
Jainism was the new challenge to the orthodoxy of Hinduism, and Western India was the battleground. Just how fierce the struggle for power was is illustrated by a popular story about Prahladan. It begins when Prahladan contracts leprosy and, distraught, searches his kingdom for a cure. He encounters a Jain muni who tells him his leprosy is a punishment for melting down a statue of Mahavir. The only way Prahladan can atone for his sin and thus be cured is to build a temple in honor of Mahavir. A living testimony to Prahladan's faith in the Jain Muni's advice stands today as the Mota Derasar of Palanpur. Though Prahladan himself never converted to Jainism, Prahladanpur came to be known as a haven for Jains. An inner corner of the Derasar stands the statue of Prahladan, the only surviving image of the founder of the city. The Aravlis were no longer a barrier against the new powers that were emerging in the north and northwest. Wave after wave of invaders swept down, attracted by the wealth and prosperity of the region. Muhammad Ghazni was followed by Muhammad Ghori, and then by Qutubuddin Aibak of the famed slave dynasty of Delhi. The Khiljis came after, and they stayed behind to administer the territory as their own. In 1572, the Mughal Emperor Akbar himself conquered Gujarat, and Palanpur became a part of the Mughal Empire. Akbar gave a foster sister in marriage to a Nawab of the kingdom of Jhalore in Rajasthan, and as a wedding gift gave the Jhalore Nawab the territory of Palanpur. This was the beginning of a remarkable period in the history of Palanpur.
we are Afghan patrons and come from Afghanistan. We came somewhere in 1400, I think. And we came as horse dealers, and then we went to Bihar, where we joined the service of the ruler of Bihar or king of Bihar. And then some problem took place later on for my family. And my ancestors moved from there, right from Patna to Jhalore. And we have a sect of people who are known even today as Biharis, because they had come from Bihar with us. And they are in Palanpur. So we joined the ruler of Jhalore, his service. Then unfortunately, the ruler of Nagaur got him killed through poisoning and all that, the king of Jhalore. But since we were there, they couldn't conquer the place. And the widow with her 2 sons continued to rule, and we supported her. Then some internal jealousies wanted to finish our family. And we came to know of it, and we surrounded the queen's palace. Peace was made, and then we continued to serve. And then she got a bit nervous, and she went away with the sons to the Aravalli Hills. And there was nobody there. So my ancestors wrote to the king of Gujarat. Then Gujarat was a separate state in Ahmedabad, that the Gaddi of Jhalore is vacant, and with your permission, can I take it over? So he wrote back and said, yes, you can take it over. And that's how we became the rulers of Jhalore. We have our monogram which says, Ba akl girafta, ba shamsheed dast, taken by wisdom, kept by sword. Because we didn't fight for it, you see. But Aurangzeb's grandchildren were abducted by Turkdas Rathod. He was the great patriot of the rulers of Jodhpur, and he kidnapped. And he said, I'll only release these if you give back to our rightful ruler of Jodhpur. Then Jodhpur has established the Jhalore, Sachor and Bhinmal. So Aurangzeb sent a command to the king, ruler at Jhalore, that you vacate Jhalore and go to Palanpur. I'll give you equivalent territory. So my ancestors, then ruling Karan Kamal Khan, he left Jhalore, and we came to rule in Palanpur. And that's how then the whole ruling family moved there. Unfortunately, Aurangzeb died after 2 years, so he didn't give any more territory to us. Whatever we got extended was with our ancestors, with their own intelligence and fighting. They took it.
In 1616, 85 years after Akbar gifted them Palanpur, the Nawabs of Jhalore moved in. It was a big exodus. Hundreds of people moved with the Nawabs. Nobles, officials, craftsmen, farmers, traders and administrators. The Jhalore Nawabs established themselves quickly and ruled Palanpur for the next 350 years, stepping down only after becoming one of the first princely states to voluntarily merge with the Indian Union in 1948. A large archive of rare photographs of the Nawab's rule is the legacy of A.L. Sayyed, Palanpur's own photographer, who went on to win distinction all over the country. A.L. Sayyed's photographs of the princes are significant, but of greater value to us today are his pictures of common people and daily life in what seems to have been a peaceful and secular state. The Nawabs hosted official celebrations of both Muslim and Hindu festivals. Nobles and ordinary folk participated in ceremonial processions through the city on the occasions of Eid and Dasera. Diwali was also celebrated.
Next day of Diwali is the New Year according to our calendar, Vikram Savan. You see, that day we had a big darbar in the old city palace. About 500 to 600 farmers used to come. And in those days, there were no cocktails, there was opium, you see. So opium was offered to those people by my father's hand.
The benevolent rule of the Nawabs is remembered with fondness even today. The liberal atmosphere was ideal for a flowering of craft and poetry. Palanpuri attars were famous for their delicate fragrance, and the state became well known for Gujarati ghazals and poetry, and threw up literary figures such as Shunya and Saif Palanpuri and Chandrakant Pakshi.
જ્યાં સુધી પાલનપુરનો ઉલ્લેખ ન થાય ત્યાં સુધી ગઝલનો ઇતિહાસ અધૂરો છે એમ હવે તો દાવાની સાથે આપણે કહી શકીએ. મોતની તાકાત શી મારી શકે, જિંદગી તારો ઇશારો જોઈએ ને જેટલે ઊંચે જવું હો માનવી તેટલા ઉન્નત વિચારો જોઈએ. આવી ઉન્નત કવિતા કરનાર શૂન્ય પાલનપુરી, મૂળ નામ એમનું અલી ખાન ઉસ્માન ખાન બલોચ, એ હિઝ હાઇનેસ નવાબજાદા ઇકબાલ મોહમ્મદ ખાનજીના સાથી તરીકે પણ રહ્યા અને તેમના સમયથી એમણે પોતાના નામની આગળ નવાબ સાહેબના કહેવાથી જ, ઇકબાલ મોહમ્મદ ખાનજીના કહેવાથી જ પોતાના નામની સાથે પાલનપુરી શબ્દ જોડ્યો.
આખો ઇતિહાસ જ જોઈએ તો સર્વશ્રેષ્ઠ નવાબ તરીકે અત્યારે જે છેલ્લા તાલે મોહમ્મદ ખાનજી હતા ને, એમના પિતા શ્રી શેર મોહમ્મદ ખાનજીએ સારો વહીવટ આપ્યો છે. કદાચ એના જેવો વહીવટ હું માનું ત્યાં સુધી કોઈ આપી શક્યું નથી. 1877માં શેર મોહમ્મદ ખાનજી આવ્યા. એ શેર મોહમ્મદ ખાનજી જ્યારે આવ્યા ત્યારે એમની પાસે રાજ્યની વાર્ષિક આવક 3 લાખ રૂપિયા હતી, માત્ર 3 લાખ રૂપિયા. અને એ 3 લાખ રૂપિયામાંથી 50,000 એમને ગાયકવાડ સરકારને આપવા પડતા. એટલે એમની જે મૂડીની અંદર ને એ વહીવટની અંદર એમને જે વિચાર કર્યા એમાં એમને લોકોના વિચારો ખૂબ કર્યા. ગરીબો અને નિર્ધારદાર માણસો હતા, જે લોકોને ખાવા પીવાની તકલીફ હતી, એ લોકોને માટે કંઈ 50,000 રૂપિયા ખર્ચી ને એક મોતાજખાનું બનાવ્યું. ત્યાં જમવાની સુઈ રહેવાની વ્યવસ્થા એ લોકો માટે કરી. એમના સમયમાં દુષ્કાળ ખૂબ પડ્યો. એ દુષ્કાળ ખૂબ પડ્યો એટલે એમને એ વખતે 3,000 કૂવાઓ પાલનપુરમાં ખોદાડ્યા. ખેડૂતોને વગર વ્યાજની લોન આપી. એ જમાનાની અંદર વગર વ્યાજની લોન આપીને ખેડૂતોની પાસે કૂવા કરાવ્યા.
The Palanpur High School, one of the oldest schools in Gujarat, was established and scholarships were made available to talented students. The George V Club was set up to encourage sport, and the Goodfellow Hospital, now called the Civil Hospital, gave common people access to health care.
એમને આ રીતે પાલનપુરના વિકાસમાં દરેકે દરેક ક્ષેત્રે એમને રસ લીધો. બહુ ઊંચી આવકે એમને આ રસ લીધો.
Local historians credit much of Palanpur's good fortune to an astute group of Jain administrators who oversaw the day-to-day running of the state. When the Jhalore Nawabs moved to Palanpur, they were accompanied by a group of Jain families. Originally Kshatriya Rajputs from Rajasthan, these families had come under the influence of Jain munis and become ardent followers of Jainism. The Jains found patronage under the Nawabs, and their relationship evolved into one of mutual interest and respect. In Palanpur, the Jains became key advisors to the Nawabs.
એક વસ્તુ આપણે સમજવી પડે કે નવાબ એટલે પઠાણ, ચુસ્ત મુસલમાન, નમાઝી, 5 વખત નમાઝ પઢનારા માણસો. સાથે સાથે જૈનો એ ધર્મ સહિષ્ણુ, અને મુસ્લિમોને એમ લાગ્યું કે આપણા ધર્મને, એટલે નવાબને એવું લાગ્યું કે આપણા ધર્મને અગર આપણા રાજને આ લોકોને વહીવટ સોંપશું તો વાંધો નહીં આવે. એમની વફાદારી, એમની હોશિયારી, એમની નિપુણતા આપણને કામ લાગશે. એટલે એક જાતનું વિશ્વાસનું વાતાવરણ પેઢીઓથી ઊભું થયું અને લગભગ બધી સત્તાના તમામ ધુરાઓ એમને સોંપી દીધી. એટલે રેવન્યુ, જ્યુડિશિયરી કન્સ્ટ્રક્શન એટલે જે કે આપણે જેને અત્યારે પીડબ્લ્યુડી કે બધું જ લગભગ એ જૈનોના હાથમાં જ હતું. અને છેવટે તો એવું કહેવામાં આવતું કે નવાબ સાહેબ જૈનોને એટલે વાણિયાઓને પૂછ્યા વગર કશું કરતા નથી.
પાલનપુર શહેરમાં દરેક જૈનોના ઘરમાં એક જર્મન સિલ્વરનો થાળ રહેતો, મોટો જર્મન સિલ્વરનો થાળ રહેતો. સાંજના ટાઈમે બધા જૈનો ભેગા બેસીને એક જ થાળમાં જમતા હતા. અમારા ત્યાં સાસુ વહુ નણંદ ભોજાઈ બધા એક જ થાળમાં જમતા હતા. મુસ્લિમો પણ એ જ રીતે, હજી મુસ્લિમો તો જમે જ છે, પણ એ જૈનોમાં પણ આ પરિસ્થિતિ હતી. આ પાલનપુરનું રાજ્ય આખું જાણે એ રીતે જ સંકળાયેલું હતું. એમ
એક જમાનો એવો હતો કે લગભગ 600 ઘર જૈનોના સ્થાનકવાસીના, 600 ઘર દેરાવાસી, અને એક મોટું સંકુલ ઊભું થયું. 18,000ની વસ્તીમાં 6,000 જૈનો, આપ સમજી શકો છો, 10,000 હિન્દુઓ અને ફક્ત 2,000 મુસ્લિમો હતા. એટલે વહીવટની દ્રષ્ટિએ જૈનોનો બહુ જબરજસ્ત પ્રભાવ અહીંયા રહ્યો.
Palanpur's administration was much too small to employ the growing number of Jains who came to live here. Nawab Sheher Muhammad Khan was concerned about the well-being of this gifted community. He encouraged a few leading Jain families to enter the jewelry business and was generous with introductions and recommendations to royalty in India and Nepal. So began the second migration of the Jains to Bombay and the world. Amulak Khubchand Parekh, Surajmal Lalubhai and Amritlal Raichand Mehta were among the first Palanpuris to move to Mumbai. Amulak was a young man when he moved.
એમની લગભગ 25 વર્ષની ઉંમરે ત્યાં પાલનપુર મૂકીને આવ્યા. 5 ભાઈઓ એ લોકો, એટલે અલગ અલગ એ રીતે કામ કરતા. કાપડની દુકાન હતી, સોના ચાંદીની દુકાન હતી. ને પછી એમને થયું કે કોઈએ બીજો ધંધો શરૂ કરવો જોઈએ, એટલે એમણે ઝવેરાતનો ધંધો શરૂ કર્યો. એમને એમ લાગ્યું કે જો સાહસ કરીને આપણે પરદેશ જઈએ તો કંઈ પણ ઉપાર્જન 2 પૈસા થઈ શકે અને ભાઈઓને આપણે સાથે રાખી શકીએ. કારણ કે ફેમિલી મોટું હતું, 5 ભાઈઓ હતા, એમના છોકરાઓ પાછા થાય તો કંઈક જુદો જુદો વ્યવસાય રાખ્યો હોય તો વધારે સારું, એવું અમને પોતાના મગજમાં આવ્યું, એટલે અહીંયા આવેલા.
Amulak Khubchand Parekh was closely followed in 1895 by Surajmal Lalubhai, who came to Mumbai with barely enough money to pay his train fare. In 20 years, he created a business empire in diamonds and precious stones.
Yes, he did. His offices were at Rangoon, at Madras, at Trichinapalli, Bombay, and agencies in Antwerp, Amsterdam, and Paris. The whole thing, to my mind, is Sunil Bhai, that it was a master of management, and it was his managerial expertise that worked for him.
His meticulously maintained diaries and notes are testimony to his astute business sense.
મુંબઈની દુકાનને બરાબર ચલાવવા નીચેના નિયમોનો તરત ઉપયોગ કરવો. દુકાનની દરેક આદમીએ શેઠશ્રીથી માંડીને ભૈયા સુધીના, ફ્રોમ ટોપ ટુ બોટમ, પોતાના હાથે હાજરી ભરવી અને આવતા જતા બંને વખતનો ટાઈમ નોંધાવવો. દુકાનના ભાગીદાર સુદ્ધા દરેક દુકાનના માણસે દુકાનમાં કામમાં ઓછામાં ઓછા 8 કલાક રોકાવું અને ખાસ સમય હોય તો 9 કલાક પણ રોકાવું. I would say in those days the way he managed his firm, he managed everything. I mean really, today it is just like today's management expert. Today we are importing raw material. At that time we used to import all polished diamonds. And polished diamonds were imported. I mean in 1922 there were about 18 foreign firms dealing in Mumbai. And they had their agents over here also. And they carry on the business.
Palanpuris like Amritlal Raichand Mehta, Surajmal Lalubhai and Amulak Khubchand Parekh established a unique practice that dramatically changed the fortunes of the Palanpuri Jain community. Every year the pioneers would encourage young Palanpuri Jains to come to their offices and train as apprentices with no obligation to join the firm.
What we in Gujarati say rotlo and otlo. That means it's a free boarding and lodging that was provided. Then they were trained for 6 months under him, under his guidance. And then they were asked to have their own offices. He was never afraid of competition because he said કે દરિયો બહુ વિશાળ છે. એમાંથી જેટલું તમે પાણી પીશો એટલું ઓછું છે. અને બધા જ પી શકે છે. So many people told him that they will have their offices just opposite your office. But he said, I don't worry. Let them, they also have a right to do the business, they can do it.
જેટલા બી સગા સંબંધી હોય એ સિવાય બી સંબંધમાં પણ કોઈ પણ હોય પણ પાલનપુરનો વતની હોય એને ત્યાં આગળથી કરી પોતાના ખર્ચે અહીંયા લઈ આવે અને એને કામ ઉપર લગાડે. એ વખતે દલાલી પરચુન જે બીજાઓ બી સુરતના પાટણના અમદાવાદના ઝવેરીઓ હતા એ રીતે એમના સાથે પણ ધંધોની દલાલીનો ધંધો પહેલાં શીખવાડે પછી પોતપોતાનો વ્યવસાય શરૂ કરે નાના પાયા ઉપર.
With the pioneers establishing a foothold in the diamond trade, a stream of young Palanpuris began migrating to Mumbai, confident the community would help them to learn the ropes and then to set up their own businesses. But back in Palanpur, the Jain population began to dwindle quickly. In the initial years of migration, most Palanpuri Jains left their families behind in Palanpur. Their connection with the hometown remained intact as they returned to their families for several months every year. But after the 60s, the new generation of Palanpuris began setting down their roots in their new home, Mumbai.
I was studying in Bombay, in a suburb, completed my matriculation in 55. Then I spent 6 months to 8 months in the college. But my father and their friends were very eager that I should come in a diamond business to support my father's business. We were staying in Vileparla. We leave from Vileparla around 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, having lunch. And we come straight to the diamond market, walking from Marine Lines to Dungy Street. Business was going on Dungy Street and Sikh Memon Street. And then we sit in the Diamond Merchant Association hall and we spend some time with the brokers and others. Also we look at the small parcels which are available for sale. And within sitting in the hall we decide whether to buy or not to buy. And then after 3 o'clock we go around with the all offices by and large, those who are buying the diamonds for their consumption in a different state of the country. I would say the business was in a very small amount compared to today's market. I would say that none of the company was doing a business of 1 crore. I never heard of that. It was just in lakhs. And today we're talking about 70,000-80,000 crores. So it's a big change in the last 40-50 years.
The whole success is based on this principle of trust and lending. And that is how it started in 1920s. Today we lend to any small broker, but we know his father, mother, community, no? Same trust that these are good people having a good standing in the society. So let us do that. That is how it has come. Really it is like that. You will not find any business in Bombay city or all over the world that people lend goods worth of 20 lakhs of rupees, 25 lakhs without a signature. So it is a matter of prestige, it is a matter of social standing.
So within the family, within the community, business was expanding. I would say that other community or international marketing has happened in last 15-20 years. Earlier it was Palanpuris who was carrying the business. It was Palanpuri who was dominating the diamond business, whether they sell in India or outside India.
In the 60s, Palanpuri diamond traders created a phenomenal business opportunity when they began buying industrial-grade diamond rough and set up a diamond manufacturing industry. Thousands of carats of small-sized, polished gems began flowing out of India. The sheer brilliance of this move changed the face of the diamond business. The Bears sat up and took notice. They sent a team to India to meet local diamond merchants and understand the new phenomenon.
They were absolutely astonished because they found that, first of all, the industry was much bigger than they thought it was, and secondly, they saw that they worked on polished qualities of rough, which up till then people had thought were not polishable. And not only did they polish them, but they produced actually rather attractive, cheap polished. So they suddenly saw that they had a chance to be able to gradually begin selling cheaper rough, which before could only be used for industrial purposes, at a higher value. And that was the basis, if you like, of the mutual interest between the two parties. On the one side, the Indians were looking for supplies, and on the other side, De Beers were looking for a way of handling their cheaper rough, which could not be handled in the West because the labor costs were too high and the skills weren't there.
I don't think anybody could have seen the growth and the success of the Indian diamond industry led by the Palanpuris. I mean, it's been a huge benefit to the diamond world as a whole. The fact that you had these diamonds now available meant a much wider range of people were able to buy diamonds and come to appreciate this very, very special jewel, and has dramatically changed the diamond industry.
The migration of Palanpuris from the 50s onwards to Antwerp, led by pioneers such as Leherchand Nagindas Parekh, Kirtilal Manilal Mehta and Mafatlal Mohanlal Mehta, is a remarkable story of resilience and entrepreneurship.
ફાધર અહીંયા આવ્યા 1953માં અને હું બી 1953 એપ્રિલમાં અહીંયા આવ્યા. ત્યારે ખાલી 3 ફેમિલીઝ જ હતા. પછી 58 પછી ધીરે ધીરે ફેમિલી વધવા લાગ્યા અને 75માં લગભગ 40 ફેમિલી હતા અને આજે તો 550 ફેમિલીઝ હશે. મનમાં એ વખતે બધું નવું નવું લાગતું હતું કારણ કે ઇન્ડિયા અને અહીંયા આખું કલ્ચર જુદું હતું. ભાષા અહીંયા ફ્રેન્ચ અને ફ્લેમિશ બોલતા હતા જે એ વખતે આવડતી નહોતી. ધીરે ધીરે શીખ્યા. સ્કૂલમાં બી ગયેલો અહીંયા લેંગ્વેજ માટે અને ધીરે ધીરે ફાવવા લાગ્યું. શરૂઆતમાં તો આંખમાં આંસુ આવી જતા હતા કારણ કે ખાવા પીવાથી માંડીને બધી જ તકલીફ થતી હતી, પણ ટેવાઈ ગયા.
I came on 4th April 1961. And it was all around coming from India for the first time outside India. Grey, grey, grey. And lot of work. No servants. Everything had to be done with hands. One wouldn't like to see one's mother washing dishes, cooking food that we were not used to see, but those were the prices everybody paid. A lot of young people of my age were there with their parents. And it was a big challenge to all of us, and very early in our career we started to make money. And then it suddenly, started to roll, become bigger and bigger and bigger. So of course then there was much more force and much more energy into what we did, and we tried to imagine things and imitate things and innovate things, and that happened then.
એ વખતે 80% યહૂદીઓનો હતો અને 20% બેલ્જિયમનો હતો. પણ આજે 60% ઇન્ડિયનોનો છે, 20% યહૂદી, 20 થી 25% અને 15% બેલ્જિયનનો છે. ઇન્ડિયન લોકો સવારના 8 થી રાતના 10 વાગ્યા સુધી કામ કરતા હતા, જ્યારે બેલ્જિયમવાળાઓ આવે 9, 9:30 અને 5 વાગે તો ઘરે જતા હતા. એટલે કામ કરવાના કલાકો એ લોકો માટે ઓછા હતા અને આપણે વધારે કલાકો કામ કરી એકબીજાને મદદરૂપ થવા લાગ્યા, જેથી કામ વધ્યું. એ વખતે તો ખાલી 3 કે 4 ફેમિલી હતા એટલે એ લોકોને બહુ લાગ્યું નહોતું, પણ પછી 1965 પછી ધીરે ધીરે એ લોકો જોવા લાગ્યા કે આ તો ઇન્ડિયનનો આપણા હાથમાંથી ધંધો લઈ જશે. તે થોડા એ લોકો આપણાથી વ્યવહારીમાં બરાબર નહોતા રાખતા, પણ ઇન્ડિયનો એટલા બધા ધીરે ધીરે વધવા લાગ્યા કે એ લોકો વ્યવહાર ના રાખે તો એ લોકોનો ધંધો ના ચાલતો, પછી એ લોકોએ ચલાવવું પડ્યું.
These days, our new generation boys are all going to business schools. Those days, during my times, we have not been to any business school. So that proves that that was in our blood. We had a great sense of entrepreneurship. A very great sense of entrepreneurship. We wanted to make a big turnover. We wanted to even to, at a cost of giving in the margins, we wanted to have a bigger turnover and wanted to have a bigger share of the business. We always balanced the share of the business with the margins. We were always balancing these two things out.
I have a big admiration for the Indian community. The Indian community came to Antwerp, it was for the profit of Antwerp in general. A big energy and a big push. They are very, very clever people, very intelligent people, very smart people.
To be a successful diamond merchant, I've always thought you had to have two very unusual attributes. In the first part, you had to be an artist. You had to be able to look at a rough diamond and see the beauty in it. And equally, you had to be a horse trader. And those are an unusual coming together of attributes. And the Indian trade at large, and obviously led by the Palanpuris, had those two attributes in great size. And that's why they have been as successful as they have.
It's such an extraordinary business story that I'm very glad that it's being recorded, because, I mean, I don't know, there must be others, but I don't know of any, where you've got this small community of Jains coming out of this small town and building this vast business. It's absolutely unique.
The enterprising spirit and marketing abilities of the Palanpuris have enabled them to dominate what today ranks as India's largest export business.
I think, rather I believe very strongly that the Palanpuris control the majority of the diamond business, not only in India, not only in Mumbai, but also globally. Palanpuris have got a presence all over the world, apart from Mumbai, Antwerp, New York, Japan, Hong Kong, Tel Aviv, and recently, in the recent past, we are also having our strong presence in Dubai. Some of the major companies have become the real multinationals diamond companies, and they have become a very prominent diamond companies in the world.
SBI is the largest lender to the diamond industry. We have had an excellent experience with the people coming from Palanpur. The kind of facility which they required, the traditional form of banking could never take care of that kind of requirements. So we had to become a little more flexible. We had to analyze their requirements. We have to analyze their business and then work out suitable banking products which can take care of the needs. And I must say, to the credit of the community, that we lend them very substantial funds. But I must say that we have had an excellent experience.
The common perception is that Palanpuri Jains are diamond merchants of the world. But that does not mean that Palanpuri Jains have not branched off or succeeded or made their name in other areas. In fact, in a number of professional fields, and as far as India is concerned, I can say that in the medical field and in the legal field in particular, a number of Palanpuri Jains have not only made their mark but have been leaders in some special professional activity. In my own case, for instance, I am one of the few, one of the rare ones who joined diplomatic service, and I was fortunate enough to be able to finish my career as India's permanent representative to the UN and finally as the Under-Secretary General of the United Nations. As you know now, a large number of younger generation of Palanpuri Jains, even in the diamond field, have understood the need for education, have sent their children out into many universities abroad as well as here, and have, while doing their diamond business, which of course is extremely profitable, also begun to branch off in many other fields.
The hometown has also changed. Over the years, Palanpur has spread beyond the walled city to embrace modernity. New migrants from villages and towns around are reshaping the city, but they share none of its history with the older population.
ત્યારે પાલનપુરનું ખોખું રહ્યું છે, પાલનપુરનું નામ રહ્યું છે, પાલનપુરની સંસ્કૃતિ નથી રહી, પાલનપુરની જે આગવી જીવનશૈલી હતી એ નથી રહી. અને હું એમ માનું છું કે કદાચ પાલનપુરનો ચહેરો ન ઓળખાય એવી રીતે બદલાઈ ગયો છે, દરેક રીતે, ભૌતિક રીતે અને માનસિક રીતે.
Last month, both my wife and both the children, we went to Palanpur and Mount and Palitana and things. I went there this time is again like a tourist rather than person of the town. And frankly speaking, I had to find my own ways. I had to ask people, how do I go there now? So this is how I lost my town. I couldn't find place from A to B. My own house, I couldn't find it. I have to ask people, take a guide with me and go there.
When the Nawabs merged Palanpur with the Indian Union, it was the end of an important era in its history. Perhaps today we are witnessing yet another of those transitions. But the Jains of Palanpur have not let go. They still feel a strong sense of attachment to their hometown.
The town Palanpur has given a lot to our grandparents, parents and forefathers, and it is our time that as we are with happily living, we should always look to the hometown, and whatever the best we can do, we should do it. And I think people are doing it. There are a number of families, they are always visiting Palanpur and their surrounding areas time to time, and whatever the best they can do, they are doing it.
એની પાછળ હંમેશા એ જ કે આપણે મહાજન છીએ, આપણે પાલનપુરના મહાજન છીએ, અને પાલનપુર આપણું વતન છે, આપણે પાલનપુરના ઋણી છીએ. આપણી ફરજ છે પાલનપુર આપણું છે એ કહેવું, આપણા માટે યોગ્ય છે એવું લાગવું જોઈએ.
Over the last century, Palanpuri Jains have contributed time and money to establishing medical infrastructure such as the female and Mahajan hospitals. The city has become the medical center for the region, and thousands of people come here every day to take advantage of its medical facilities. The Bhansali Trust and the Rajmal Rikhab-Chand Charitable Trust have been actively doing pioneering work around Palanpur. Significant strides have been made in education as well. An important example is the work of the Vidyamandir Trust, which today has grown into a large educational institution, the best of its kind in Gujarat. Every year, schools run by the trust create a new generation of highly educated and skilled young people. Perhaps this is Palanpur's new identity, an area of excellence in services such as medicine and education. And perhaps this is the new relationship the town has with its people, one that recognizes the spirit of the town, that transcends time and geographical boundaries.
અમે ઘણીવાર એવું કહીએ છીએ કે અમારું પાલનપુર પાલનપુરમાં નથી, અમારું પાલનપુર એન્ટવર્પમાં છે, અમારું પાલનપુર કલકત્તામાં હતું, રંગૂનમાં હતું, મુંબઈમાં હતું, ચેન્નાઈમાં હતું, જુદે જુદે ઠેકાણે હતું. કારણ કે અમારે પાલનપુરીઓ અહીંથી જે ગયા એ એના સંસ્કાર, એની સંસ્કૃતિ, એની જીવનશૈલી, રહેણી કરણી બધું જ લઈ ગયા.
એટલે પાલનપુરી ક્યાં પણ હોય એ તો પેલું આને જેવું છે, ગુજરાતી જેવું. કવિ ખબરદારે કીધું છે, જ્યાં જ્યાં બસે એક ગુજરાતી ત્યાં સદાકાળ ગુજરાત. એવું છે, જ્યાં જ્યાં બસે એક પાલનપુરી ત્યાં સદાકાળ પાલનપુરીનું.
કહે છે કોણ આ ધરતી અમારે મન પર આઈ છે,
અમારા દેહમાં એની જ તો ખુશ્બુ લપાઈ છે. ખરેખર હવે તો કઈ રંગમાં આવ્યા છે સંબંધો. વતન સાથે અમારે શૂન્ય લોહીની સગાઈ છે.